Revealed. How a millionaire found true love in a hidden poor girl sleeping at a bus stop. Ryan Hudson, 35 and at the pinnacle of corporate America, walked out of the board meeting that would fuel his fast-paced ambitions for months to come. Chicago's skyline glittered in the fading light, a postcard-perfect scene that somehow felt empty. He slipped into the evening rush, the clatter of heels and off-drop of taxi doors surrounding him like a dull chorus. As he made his way through the city, a flickering streetlight caught his eye. There, huddled against the chill, was a girl. No more than 25, her tattered clothes flapping in the wind. She sat at an unassuming bus stop. Ryan's heart skipped. Somehow, it was the haunting look in her eyes that transfixed him. They held stories of resilience, dreams once vibrant, now worn thin. This was just a girl, this was Lily. Initially, Ryan felt only pity. He saw her as a contrast to his tailored suit and crisp white shirt, symbols of a life spent climbing the corporate ladder. But then he heard her voice, a quiet strength breaking into his structured world. She shared fragments of her life, how her family had thrived during the dot-com boom, only to crash with its sudden collapse. He found himself drawn to her spirit, a flicker in the darkness, and with each encounter, the spark of his previously unacknowledged world dimmed. They exchanged stories, not about money or status, but of resilience and lost dreams. Ryan began to see the ugliness of the social prejudices he had lightly embraced. It nagged at him, tightening his chest as he recalled his apathetic meetings with the elite, empty conversations, and hollow laughter. The more he learned about Lily, the more he questioned his own life choices. Their worlds were so vastly different, yet her struggles were achingly familiar. Then one particularly cold night, chaos erupted. Lily was arrested for vagrancy. Panic swept through Ryan's heart, seizing him just as tightly as his work demands ever did. Should he risk everything, his reputation, his friends, his entire lifestyle, to help her? Or should he retreat to the safety of his lavish penthouse, cloaked in designer comforts? He made his choice, propelled by a dawning realization that true fulfillment lies in connection, not in facade. He hired a high-powered attorney, despite the whispers and judgment he knew would follow. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you could drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. At a lavish gala celebrating his latest corporate triumph, Ryan felt disoriented. Every compliment he received felt hollow. Each laugh sliced through him like broken glass. The elite around him lived in an echo chamber, reverberating with wealth and status, blind to the vulnerability standing just outside their shiny doors. His thoughts danced back to Lily. Her warmth and spirit had ignited a flame he never knew flickered within him. As the clock ticked towards Lily's court hearing, uncertainty loomed large. Ryan stood at a crossroads, teetering between the life he had led and the one now being unwound before him. Would he dare to challenge a world that looked down upon fallen souls? Could he muster the strength to defy every expectation and embrace love in its most authentic form? The stakes rose as the hearing approached, the cliff on which he balanced feeling ever more precarious. Would Ryan find the courage to follow his heart before it was too late? The night before Lily's court hearing, Ryan couldn't sleep. He tossed and turned in his spacious bed, the weight of his choices pressing down on him as heavily as the down comforter beneath him. His mind raced. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Lily's face filtered through sadness and hope. The warmth in her gaze had sparked something he thought long buried. But tomorrow loomed. Would he stand up for her or fold under the weight of expectations? As dawn broke, a heavy gray sky mirrored his own tumultuous thoughts. He dressed in his finest suit, a uniform of success that suddenly felt burdensome. Today required more than a polished exterior. It demanded vulnerability. He glanced at his reflection. The mirrors were unforgiving. This man, this millionaire, appeared lost amid his wealth, searching for purpose at the courthouse. The air was thick with tension. Ryan knew he had arrived too early. The heavy wooden doors loomed wide open, hinting at the chaos inside. The sound of muffled voices drifted through the corridor, a cacophony of uncertainty echoing his own. He could hear Lily's name being whispered, each syllable stirring his resolve. When he finally saw her, shackled by uncertainty and the hard reality of her situation, his heart broke. She looked up, her eyes searching, and in that moment, the world around them faded into a blur. The tied strings of her life surrounded him. He remembered how she laughed despite her hardships, how she shared dreams well beyond her reality. The girl who inspired him to question everything. Across the room, he noticed faces filled with judgment. Ryan's pulse quickened. This was not just Lily's fight, it was his as well. The lawyer he had hired stood beside her, a sharp contrast to those waiting to gawk at the spectacle. A part of him wanted to slip back into the shadows of his corporate self. But there was no turning back. He had chosen connection. He had chosen her. Lily stood taller than before. Even in those handcuffs, her spirit shining bright. It struck Ryan that they were defined not by their pasts, but by what they dared to dream for their futures. Maybe he could inspire her with the confidence he admired, lift her up as she had unknowingly lifted him. Ryan, she breathed, her voice shaky yet filled with warmth. His legs moved before his mind could stop them. He crossed the room, the murmurs growing more pronounced as he reached her side. "I'm here, Lily. You're not alone," he assured her, hoping to project strength through the cracks in his own. For a moment, a connection sparked that silenced the world around them. But just then, the judge entered, shattering a fragile peace. The courtroom erupted into a sea of noise, demands, and accusations. Panic flared within him, but with a deep breath, he found clarity. The proceedings began, a mix of lawyers presenting arguments like daggers aimed at Lily. Each word painted her in shades of despair. Ryan could see her crumbling under the pressure. She de-shared her truth, her light, but they were so quick to judge. How can they not see? He thought, feeling his anger boil. The injustice was palpable, igniting a fire within him. Slowly, he raised his hand to speak, pushing against the tide of the courtroom, feeling every eye upon him. "I have something to say," he announced, his voice shaky but unwavering as the eyes turned towards him. Ryan felt the gravity of his choice. Would they accept his truth, or would this be yet another moment of misunderstanding? "Lily deserves more than just this moment," he stated, bracing himself for the judgment he once feared but now welcomed. What would happen next? Would his voice echo in support, or would the system drown him out? The tension in the room simmered, the air electric with anticipation. Could he change everything just by choosing to stand with her? Would his words resonate and spark something greater? Ryan's heart raced, his future balanced on a knife's edge. One thing was clear, he was all in. The room quieted, a thick tension hanging like heavy fog. Ryan's palms were clammy as he looked around. Faces that had once been strangers now scrutinized him, each glance cutting deeper than he anticipated. He steadied his breath, reminding himself of the warmth in Lily's gaze. He wasn't just doing this for her, he was reclaiming himself too. "Lily deserves a chance," he repeated, louder this time. The sharp truths rolled off his tongue, flush with conviction. "I know her. I've seen her fight through things you can't even begin to imagine. She is not a criminal. She is a survivor." The courtroom held its breath, the weight of his words hanging in the air. The prosecutor, a woman with a stern expression, was quick to interject. "And what do you know of her, Mr. Blake? What proof do you have? You are a wealthy businessman. After all, she is simply a casualty of your world." Her words swirled in the air, an accusation laced with disdain. The crowd shifted, some leaning in, others shaking their heads. Ryan felt his heart race, not with fear but rage. Why was it always easier for people to judge? "I know your type," she continued, brushing him off with a backward glance. You take what you want and leave others to pay the price. Something snapped in him. The world was crumbling, but it was not going to detour him. He focused back on Lily, who was staring at him with a mixture of hope and fear. This moment was a turning point. He would not let her down. I'm here because I see potential in Lily. She is the hardest worker I've ever met. I was once lost, just like her. I learned every person deserves a chance. You don't understand who she really is beneath the surface. As he spoke, the emotion bubbled up within him. His voice quaked with sincerity. A murmur floated through the courtroom. He sensed he was breaking through. Ms. Carter, he turned to the judge, I want to offer Lily a job at my company. A real opportunity. With all the resources she needs to thrive, not just survive. She has the talent and the spirit. Let us help her craft the future she deserves. A ripple of surprise surged through the room. Eyes widened, eyebrows lifted. Behind him, Ryan could see the attorney's expression soften slightly, as if reconsidering her stance. The judge raised an eyebrow, intrigued. Your offer is noted, Mr. Blake. But can you prove that she would be a safe and responsible employee? Ryan took a breath, the gravity of what he was saying hitting him all at once. What if this could be the moment that changed everything? I will mentor her. I'll be personally responsible for her progress, for her actions. Lily represents everything I wish to change about my life. For the first time, he felt the ground under him stabilize, his intentions becoming clear. This wasn't merely about a job for Lily. It was about building a bridge to a better future for both of them. The weight of the silence returned, but now held a hint of excitement. The judge regarded him gravely, weighing his words carefully. You understand the responsibilities that come with this, right? This will not be easy. I'm counting on it, Ryan said firmly, his determination reflecting in Lily's brightening eyes. I want to shy away from the hard work. I want to see her grow and succeed. It's time she was seen and given the chance she deserves. As the courtroom buzzed with whispers, hope flickered through Ryan's chest. Was he truly making a difference? Could his choice change both their lives completely? He felt Lily squeeze his hand, her trust in him radiating warmth like a beacon. But then came the judge's gavel. We will reconvene tomorrow to allow both parties to consider this new development. Tomorrow? The weight of that word crashed over Ryan, a realization dawning. They were not free yet. The battle was far from over. Would Ryan and Lily find their way through the storm? Would tomorrow bring them the hope they needed, or would the system tighten its grip once more? The thought pushed into every crevice of his mind as they slowly walked out together. The struggle wasn't just for each other. It was the fight for redemption in a world that often seemed so ruthless. Ryan and Lily stepped out of the courtroom, the heavy door closing behind them with a finality that echoed in their hearts. Outside, the sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the pavement. The air felt charged, electric, as they moved to the steps leading down to the street. Are you okay? Ryan asked, glancing over at her. Despite the potential glimmer of hope, he could see the tension etched on her face. She nodded, but the flicker of doubt in her eyes told another story. I didn't expect to see you fight for me like that, she admitted. It made me feel I don't know, like I matter. You do matter, he insisted, stepping in front of her to halt her movement. It's not just words, I mean it. You're so much more than anyone knows. You're fierce. You've fought harder than most people could ever imagine. Lily looked down, the blush in her cheeks mingling with a mix of emotions. What if the judge says no tomorrow? He took her hands in his, warmth flooding through him. Then we find another way. There's always a way. The confidence in his voice sparked something in Lily. A smile broke through, fragile but real. You really believe that? I do, he replied, determination coursing through him. And it doesn't have to end here. This is just the beginning. They walked a little further, side by side, absorbing the moment. With every step, Ryan felt a bond grow, a shared determination in defiance of the world around them. He scanned the street as they passed by pedestrians, their lives bustling in easy harmony, so different from the chaos they'd just left behind. Can I ask you something? Lily said, her voice hesitant as they neared a small park. Anything, he urged. What if I mess up? She bit her lip, worry flooding her features. What if you invest all this faith in me and I fail? Ryan stopped, took a deep breath, and turned to face her fully. Then we try again. That is how life works. No one gets it right the first time. She considered his words, letting them sink in. And what if I don't make it at your company? You will, he insisted, squeezing her hands tighter. I want to give up on you. I promise. But deeper inside, Ryan wrestled with his own fears, the financial risks, the judgment he might face from his peers, the fact that not everyone would support Lily's presence in his company. As if reading his mind, Lily squinted towards him. You're thinking about the obstacles, aren't you? It's just he hesitated. This could affect my reputation. Lily stepped back, her expression shifting to a mix of hurt and determination. What about my reputation? What about the constant judgment I must face every day just to exist? You're stronger than you know, he replied, searching her eyes. And you're worth every bit of the fight. With that, a brief silence blanketed them. The soft chirping of birds and the rustling of leaves filled the space. And for a moment, the weight of the world melted away. Okay, Lily finally said, her voice stronger. Let us do this. Let us fight. Ryan chuckled, the tension giving way to a spark of genuine excitement. He lifted one hand in the air like a warrior claiming victory. Then let us prepare. Tomorrow is a new day, and we'll be ready. Just then, his phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out, glancing at the screen. A message from his assistant flashed. We need to discuss the upcoming board meeting. Can we talk? Ryan felt a tightness in his chest. Responsibilities were piling up around him, expectations from all sides pressing down. What's wrong? Lily asked, watching him closely. He shook his head, forcing a smile. Just work stuff. Nothing I can't handle. Tomorrow will be tough, she said softly, her gaze unwavering. You don't need to carry it all alone. He nodded, grateful for her understanding. As they resumed their walk, the shadows lengthened toward the horizon, a reminder of the challenges ahead. But with each step beside Lily, he felt lighter, emboldened by the prospect of change and the spark of something real between them. What he hadn't anticipated was how the hidden secrets of his world would soon collide with Lily's past, sending them down an unexpected path. Just as he opened his mouth to speak, a flash of movement caught his eye, a familiar figure watching from the edge of the park. Ryan's heart sank. Could it be? The last person he expected to see, and the one who could throw everything off balance? Lily, wait, he started, but it was too late. The figure stepped forward, and everything he thought he could control was about to unravel. As the figure drew closer, Ryan's breath caught in his throat. It was Marcus, his former mentor, and the partner he thought he had left behind in the corporate sharks arena. With his tailored suit and confident stride, Marcus looked every bit the part of the man who thrived on power and achievement. But today, an unreadable expression was etched across his face as he approached. Ryan, Marcus called out, his voice dripping with a mix of surprise and something darker. How didn't he know you were still involved with her? Lily looked at Ryan, confusion flashing in her eyes. He felt his heart race, a knot forming in his stomach. He never imagined Marcus would cross paths with him like this, especially not on his own terms. Marcus, Ryan replied, trying to keep his voice steady. What do you want? The other man smirked, seemingly enjoying the tension. I came to see how things were going with the board meeting. You know, the one where they decide if you get to keep your precious little company. His gaze shifted pointedly to Lily. I can only imagine how you're feeling about taking a risk with someone burdened by, well, her past. Lily's expression darkened, hurt flickering across her features. Ryan squeezed her hand tighter, feeling the heat radiate from her. This isn't about what you think you know, Ryan shot back, his voice calmer than he felt. Lily is more than you'll ever understand. Really? Marcus chuckled, a cold, humorless sound that tinged the air. You think riding in on your white horse is going to save this girl? You have no idea what she is truly capable of. Or worse, what might come crawling out of her past. Those words cut deeper than Ryan expected. He could see the pain in Lily's eyes, and it ignited a surge of protectiveness within him. You don't know anything about her, he snapped, anger boiling up. Marcus stepped closer, dismissive. Maybe she is more dangerous than you realize, Ryan. You don't want to be too close when she shows her true colors. Lily's jaw tightened as she stepped forward, her voice surprisingly steady. No more threats, Marcus. I'm done living in fear and shadows. Ryan glanced at her, feeling a rush of pride. He knew she had strength, but hearing her speak up cut through the tension. Strength? Marcus laughed. You think it LL hold against the real world? You're nothing but a job title, a cause for Ryan to champion. What happens when that wears off? Enough, Ryan shouted. The sound echoed through the park, silencing some curious onlookers. He turned back to Marcus, heart pounding. You don't get to dictate our lives. You lost that power when you walked out on me. Stay away from us. Marcus's smile faded, a blade of anger flashing across his face. We'll see about that. You're playing with fire, and I know how to get burned. With one last lingering look, he turned and strode away, merging with the throng of pedestrians. Ryan felt time freeze as he watched Marcus disappear, a gnawing sense of dread replacing the adrenaline coursing through him. He turned to Lily, who was now trembling slightly, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. Did I ruin everything by not telling you? She asked, her voice breaking the fragile silence. No, Ryan said quickly, his hands still wrapped around hers, as if to anchor her. You didn't ruin anything, but you deserve to tell me your story. I want to know everything, Lily. As the sun dipped closer to the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, a weight settled between them, one of vulnerability, fear, and hope. I just don't want to lose this chance, she said softly. Neither do I, Ryan replied, taking a step closer. But deep down, he could feel the shadows creeping in, wrapping around them even as the day faded. Tomorrow, Lily said, her voice firm despite the fear in her gaze. We fight for our future, together. But as they turned to walk away, Ryan couldn't shake off the feeling that Marcus was lurking in the shadows, just waiting for another opportunity to strike. What if the past wasn't just shadows? What if it had claws? The morning light sliced through the cityscape, splashing golden rays across the bustling streets. Ryan's heart raced as he stepped out of his apartment, determination flooding through him. Today was the day they would confront the board, but it felt like facing a lion's den instead of a conference room. He shoved his phone into his pocket, the lingering words of Marcus echoing in his mind. Lily was waiting for him at the cafe down the street. She sat at a small table, her fingers nervously tracing the rim of her coffee cup. When Ryan spotted her, his pulse steadied a little, her presence grounding him in a sea of uncertainty. Hey, he said, sliding into the chair across from her. Her eyes were bright but wary, betraying the thoughts she hadn't yet voiced. Hey, she replied softly. Are you ready for today? Ryan hesitated. Her question was simple, yet the weight of it settled heavily on his shoulders. I'm going to do everything I can. For us. He reached for her hand and held it tight, hoping to transfer some of his courage to her. I've been thinking a lot about Marcus, Lily finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. The things he said, they're eating me up inside. What if he is right? What if my past really does come back to haunt us? The worry in her voice tugged at his heart. You're stronger than you know. We'll face this together. Your past won't define you. It's your choices now that matter. She nodded, but Ryan could see the fear lingering in her eyes. He wanted to wipe it away, to reassure her that everything would be okay. But the truth was, the uncertainty resonated within him just as painfully. After a few moments of silence, Ryan stood up, his resolve strengthening with each step. Let us finish this. We can do this together. They walked side by side, hands still intertwined. The proximity felt comforting, but Ryan could sense the whispers of the unknown creeping closer. The drive to the corporate building felt like an eternity, each passing block amplifying the tension between them. As they approached the entrance, the air grew heavy with anticipation. Ryan took a deep breath, glanced at Lily, and saw her uncertainty transform into steely determination. It fueled him, igniting a spark of hope within him. They entered the building and made their way to the elevators. Ryan's mind raced. The boardroom loomed in front of him, but an unsettling feeling pricked at his instincts. He couldn't shake Marcus's warnings. What they weren't safe. As they stepped into the boardroom, a wave of tension wrapped around them like a thick fog. Faces turned to greet them, judgment hidden beneath polite smiles. Ryan took his seat at the head of the table, positioning himself as Lily sat beside him. "Thank you for joining us today," the board chair said. "We have much to discuss." But before any conversation could unfold, the door swung open. All heads turned, and Ryan's heart sank. Marcus stood there, his grin carved out of shadow, eyes glinting with malice. "Did you really think you could move on without me?" Ryan clenched his fists under the table, his composure slipping. This was the confrontation he had dreaded. As Marcus strode in, he could feel Lily tense beside him, a wave of apprehension coursing through the room. "What's he doing here?" Ryan demanded, his voice rising. "I'm here to ensure the truth comes out," Marcus stated, his tone calm but cutting. "Because without the truth, your little fairy tale might just crumble." Ryan's gut twisted. He had expected Marcus to play mind games, but this felt different. There was purpose behind his presence, a threat laced with his words. "Lily, I need you to trust me," Ryan whispered, glancing at her. But Marcus leaned in, his voice barely above a whisper. "Will she trust you when the truth about her past comes crashing in?" The air thickened with tension. The board members shifted in their seats, captivated by the brewing conflict. Ryan's mind raced, searching for a way to shield Lily. Yet he found himself unsure of how. Had Marcus truly unearthed something that could ruin everything? Lily's gaze locked on Marcus, a fire igniting in her eyes as she straightened in her seat. "I'm not afraid of my past. I've faced it, and it doesn't define who I am today." Ryan felt a surge of pride mixed with dread. Could they truly defeat the looming shadows of their pasts? The room crackled with tension as every word exchanged could reshape their destinies. Before anyone could respond, Marcus cut through the air. "Then let us bring that past to the surface. Shall we?" As the atmosphere shifted, Ryan took note of the impending storm hovering over them. Had they stepped into a war they were unprepared for? The fight was just beginning, and he couldn't help but wonder, what skeletons would Marcus drag into the light? Ryan felt his heart pound in rhythm to the tension in the room. The air was thick with uncertainty, every one of Marcus's words exhibiting a blade-like precision aimed straight at them. He glanced at Lily, her face a mix of defiance and fear. In that fleeting moment, he realized that despite the chaos swirling around them, her strength was a spark against Marcus's dark intentions. "Let's cut to the chase then," the board chair said, attempting to regain control. "What is it that you want, Marcus?" Marcus sauntered closer, his smile unsettling. "What I want?" He leaned against the table, propping himself up like a predator toying with its prey. "I want the truth. Lily's truth. A truth that will shake your foundations and make you question everything you thought you knew." Ryan's fist tightened further. He wanted to scream at Marcus to back off, to ensure Lily wasn't defined by whatever skeleton she hid. Every instinct screamed to protect her. But he knew that this moment wasn't just about them, it was about the future they were trying to build. "Lily deserves a chance to defend herself," Ryan said, the words spilling out like a protected promise. "You can't just throw accusations around like they mean anything without proof." "Oh, I wouldn't dream of accusing her without evidence," Marcus said, feigning innocence. "The evidence is the accord that binds us. But will she be bold enough to face it? Or will she run back into the shadows of her past?" Lily's grip on Ryan's hand tightened, almost as if she was pulling strength from him. "What do you think I'm afraid of, Marcus? I've worked hard to become who I am, and no ghosts from my past are going to dictate my future." A murmur swept through the boardroom, rattled by Lily's boldness. Ryan could feel the tide turning. This was a pivotal moment. It was time for Lily to stand strong, and he would be her unwavering support. "Why don't you enlighten us then, Marcus?" Ryan challenged, voice steady. "What is this great truth you think will shatter her?" Or are you just here to stir the pot, like you always do? Marcus straightened. You'll find out soon enough. But let us not forget you have your own secrets too, Ryan. Secrets that could just as easily ruin your precious fairy tale with Lily. Ryan's breath caught. His history wasn't something he spoke of lightly. If Marcus dared to pull the curtain back on him as well, everything they built together could tumble down. He met Lily's gaze, silently reassuring her. No matter what happened, he would protect her. Is that a threat? Ryan asked, trying to keep the quiver from his voice. Because if you think that digging into our past is going to make us run, you're mistaken. The board members exchanged glances, the atmosphere crackling with tension. Marcus stood taller, as if he was waiting for the moment to unleash his ultimate weapon. Why don't we let the board decide? Marcus suggested, his voice a bit too casual amid the charged silence. Let them hear the truth about both of you. A true love story, or is it a tale built on deception? Ryan's heart sank. This was more than a battle for their careers. It felt like a reckoning. How could they withstand Marcus uncovering their truths in front of those who held their futures in their hands? In that moment, a question bubbled in Ryan's throat. With Marcus ready to explode their lives into chaos, he knew the stakes were personal yet profound. Could they handle the real truths of their lives together? Would they emerge unscathed, or would this be the end of everything they had fought for? What truths does he know? Ryan thought, anxiety twisting within him. The moment felt critical. As the board sat in rapt attention, waiting for the storm to break, he couldn't help but question what other secrets lay waiting in the shadows, ready to shatter their fragile optimism. The boardroom felt like a pressure cooker, and every second that ticked by intensified the heat. Ryan's stomach churned as he sensed the uncertainty gnawing at everyone present. How could the stakes feel this monumental? This wasn't merely about a potential public exposure. This was about their very identities, their hopes for the future, and their struggle to be seen for who they truly were. Let us hear it, Marcus, the board chair, finally said, breaking the silence. What evidence do you have? Marcus's eyes glittered, satisfaction curling at the corners of his mouth as he leaned back against the table, adopting the demeanor of a cat playing with a mouse. Well, isn't this just delightful? Shall we start with Lily? He paused for effect, stretching out the tension like a rubber band. Surely, you all remember the headline-making scandal from a few years back. The one that made the rounds in all the tabloids. The girl who was found sleeping at a bus stop? The same girl who caught the attention of a certain millionaire? A gasp echoed through the room, and Ryan's heart raced. He shot a quick look at Lily, whose face had now drained of color. She steadied herself, taking a deep breath as if to summon her courage. Ryan tightened his grip on her hand, feeling her pulse flutter as anxiety swept over her. Marcus, Lily's voice was firm, unwavering despite the storm around her. I know what you're referring to. But that's not the whole story. You don't know me, and you certainly don't know what I've overcome. But the board doesn't know that either, do they? Marcus said, his smugness palpable. They only see the headlines. He turned his gaze to the board members, who were riveted by this unexpected revelation. Imagine the implications if they were to learn that the woman Ryan loves came from such a questionable background. At that moment, it felt like daggers were being tossed around the room. Ryan felt anger bubble inside him, not just at Marcus, but at the careless thought of people bringing Lily's past into question. It was almost too much to bear. She was not defined by that moment. She had clawed her way back to dignity, and he was proud of her, proud of who she had become. Get ready for the no-good narrative, Ryan, said a voice from the board. It was Gabriella, a long-standing member who had always harbored a dislike for change. Ryan turned to her, bewildered. You can't really think that way. People deserve second chances. It's not what you've done that matters, but who you choose to be afterward. Sure, but that's not how the world works, is it? Gabriella shot back, her skepticism obvious. Enough, Marcus interrupted, raising his hand like a conductor calling for silence. Here's what you all must understand. Lily's past is tangled in deceit and despair, but so is Ryan's. Are you ready for the truth of both their stories? To be confronted with their realities? What is he talking about? Lily whispered, turning to Ryan, her eyes wide with worry. Ryan swallowed hard. Her fear chipped away at his resolve. I don't know, but it's clear Marcus has something planned. Whatever he says, it doesn't change how I feel about you. Trust me, no matter what truths surface, we stand together. He hoped his words would fortify her spirit as much as they fortified his own. But even as he comforted her, the looming shadows of their secrets threatened to envelop them. Let us show them who you really are, Marcus said with a twisted grin. Shall we uncover that hidden girl and her successful million-dollar boyfriend? The board members leaned in, eager for the drama that was about to unfold. Ryan and Lily locked eyes, both sensing the storm brewing closer. The truth could either ruin them or forge an unbreakable bond, but an unsettling question rattled within him. Would they emerge whole on the other side of this confrontation, or would Marcus's revelations shatter their world apart? As Ryan's heart raced, he realized he needed to brace for the fallout. Whatever was about to come to light wasn't just a test for them. It was a reckoning that could redefine everything. What secrets lay buried, and were they ready to uncover them? Ryan's breathing quickened as Marcus's words hung in the air, thick with tension. The boardroom had transformed into a battleground, with alliances and loyalties shifting like loose sand. He looked at Lily, her face a mask of calm, but he could sense the storm inside her. It was as if both of them stood on the edge of a precipice, ready to either plunge into darkness or find a way to soar above the chaos. Marcus, Ryan's voice broke through the charged silence, steady and fierce. You're playing a dangerous game. This isn't just gossip. It's our lives. Oh, Ryan, Marcus cooed, like a snake enticing its prey. Don't act so naive. The board craves drama, and here we are, delivering the most riveting tale, your rags-to-riches romance. But underneath all that glitz, let us not forget the origins. You can't gloss over that. The board members began whispering among themselves. Ryan could see their expressions change, the glimmer of interest morphing into something darker judgment. His heart sank. This was not just about Lily's past or his own. They were now both at the mercy of those who couldn't see past the image on the surface. Suddenly, he stood up, feeling a surge of defiance course through him. Every headline tells a story, but that doesn't mean it defines a person. Lily has fought to be where she is today. That's what really matters. Lily's eyes sparkled with unshed tears, and Ryan's heart swelled with a mix of pride and fear. He could see how she was torn between vulnerability and bravery. But then, Marcus leaned forward, collecting their attention like a maestro conducting an orchestra. But let us not forget the other half of this story, shall we? He leaned closer, eyes narrowing. Ryan, why don't we talk about your tumultuous past? Your family drama? Your fall from grace? The headlines that almost buried you? No, Lily gasped, gripping Ryan's arm. He could feel the heat radiating from her, a mixture of anger and fear. Let him speak, Ryan said, his jaw tightening. I refuse to hide anymore. As Marcus began to unfurl the secrets of Ryan's past, mentioning the business failures and family scandals, the unified control of the room began to dissolve. He was fearless as he revealed the pain Ryan thought he had buried deep. The unsteady rise, the crushing fall. Who was he if not a collage of decisions that had led him to this moment? The board's murmurs grew louder, like waves crashing against the shore. Ryan closed his eyes, trying to block out the judgmental gaze of his peers, but Lily was still there, anchoring him. He turned to her, and their fingers intertwined, grounding him in this tempest. Listen, she said quietly, her voice fierce among the clamor. We've both made choices good and bad. What matters is that we survived and found each other. You're not your past, and neither am I. The room fell silent as Lily's words sliced through the tension. Everyone was captivated, and for a brief moment, Ryan dared to hope that maybe they could overcome this. But as Marcus smirked, Ryan knew the battle wasn't over. You're right, Lily. You both have survived. But survival isn't enough. The clock on the wall ticked louder, marking each second as anticipation tightened its grip. Let us see just how far you two are willing to go to defend your love. What will you lay bare? The truth can be liberating or completely destructive. Are you ready for what comes next? Ryan's heart dropped. The storm was reaching its zenith, and what lay ahead was uncertain. Would unveiling their truths bind them together, or would it tear them apart? What more was Marcus prepared to reveal? And at what cost? In the chaos of the boardroom, Ryan felt as though time had stopped. Every eye was on him and Lily, but all he could focus on was the relentless fear coiling in his stomach. A palpable tension filled the room, punctuated by Marcus's taunting smile and the murmurs of the board members. He could feel Lily's hand clench tighter in his, her resolve intertwining with his own. This was their moment to stand united, to face the shadows of their past head-on. Enough! Ryan's voice boomed, slicing through the noise. Let's lay it all bare. No more hiding. The eyes around the room widened as the weight of his words hung in the air. He took a deep breath, drawing strength from the fierce light in Lily's eyes. Marcus, if you think these revelations can unravel us, you're sorely mistaken. We own our stories. They don't own us. Lily nodded beside him, her chin lifting defiantly. I am not ashamed of my past. It has shaped me, yes, but it doesn't define who I am now or who I will be. Her voice was steady, but Ryan could feel the undercurrent of vulnerability. He squeezed her hand, a silent promise that they would face whatever came together. With an exaggerated sigh, Marcus feigned innocence. This is the unpredictable beauty of your relationship. I sent it, two broken souls trying to find footing. He strutted to the center of the room, allowing his words to hang tantalizingly in the air. Walking side by side, yet scarred. But how long will that last? Ryan felt anger bubbling in his chest, but he forced himself to maintain focus. How long? Long enough to build something beautiful. Whatever storms we faced, together we created hope. We fought for each other. He recalled the late-night conversations with Lily, the laughs shared over cups of coffee, the tenderness amidst the uncertainty. And we keep fighting. That's what matters. The board was shifting, their glances flitting between the two of them. Ryan saw skepticism, but also a flicker of something else, curiosity. This love is real, he continued, inspiration coursing through him. Every scar tells a story, but those stories shouldn't dictate our worth. They don't dictate Lily's worth, and they sure as hell don't dictate mine. It's easy to judge from the outside, Lily added, her voice rising. But you don't know the whole truth unless you've walked the path I have. Each setback wasn't weakness. It was a lesson, an opportunity to grow. Who I am today is a testament to resilience, and I want to apologize for it. Gasps rippled through the room. Eyes that had been skeptical now widened with intrigue, uncertainty beginning to chase away contempt. Yes, be curious, Ryan thought. This is who we are. We've shattered expectations. Together, we rise. Marcus sneered, leaning back against the wall nonchalantly. But will the board accept your little twist on the narrative? Can you turn your past into power? They will see it for what it is, Ryan declared. A testament to our individual strength and the bond we forged together. He took a step closer to the board members, his heart still pounding, but the weight of fear lightening. We're not seeking their approval. We're here to claim our lives in full honesty. Nothing less. Silence settled over the room, a hushed acknowledgement of their courage. Slowly, the board chair nodded, an air of respect finally brewing. Let us hear them, then, she said, her voice uncharacteristically firm. We want to understand the truth of your past. Perhaps it may even elevate your standing here. Ryan turned to face Lily again. Whatever shines through today, we face together. The boardroom door swung open, and Marcus stepped back, momentarily unnerved. This time, it wasn't just him who would shed light on the truth. It was Ryan and Lily doing it together. Ryan took a deep breath, channeling all the energy of hope and determination he felt coursing through him. Lily, let us show them who we are, flaws and all. They unfurled their stories into the room, weaving through pain and triumph. They spoke of vulnerability, of struggles that became stepping stones towards greatness. They dared to let the board members into their world, into their hearts. The reality of their hardships began to resonate, shifting whispers of judgment to murmurs of understanding as they finished. Ryan looked around the room, eyes searching for approval, for understanding. He caught a glimmer of respect on the faces of the board, and as Marcus sat flustered in the back, the feelings surged. Suddenly, a voice spoke up from the side. "I never expected this," said Gabriella, her tone softer. "You both show true grit and integrity. It's humbling." Another board member chimed in. "Maybe our narrative shouldn't just be about success, but about the journey itself." Lily stood tall beside him, and her face was awash with quiet confidence. Ryan realized in that moment that the vulnerability they shared had pinned them against the doubt's dagger, transforming it into triumph. "Tomorrow, we'll stand before the judge again," Ryan said, looking down at Lily, whose eyes sparkled with determination. "And we'll continue this fight." Facing the board once more, he exclaimed, "This is just the beginning. Together, we will create change one person at a time. We're ready." As the meeting concluded, they walked out side by side. Ryan's heart swelled, nourished by the fight they had just waged and the strength in Lily's presence. No matter what challenged them next, they would face it side by side. In an uncertain world, they had transformed shadows into light. They had forged the beginnings of true love through raw honesty, and that the power of connection had changed everything. "Lily," Ryan whispered as they reached the street corner, sunlight streaming through the trees. "No matter how this unfolds, remember there is beauty in our scars. Our past will guide us, but they will not define us." "I know," she said softly, tears brimming with promise, yet resolute. "We're writing our story together." That clarity brightened their future, shimmering with the hope of new beginnings. As the doors to their past swung wide, one undeniable truth echoed together. They would continue to rise, no matter the challenges ahead. Don't wait not even one more second. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support this journey. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. And you need to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support.